Alrighty, good morning. Good morning. We're going to start right now. Welcome to another edition of the Leadership Standard. My name is Butchie Law, and we're excited to have you. Please share this broadcast and let us get going. Today is another brand new day. We're going to be talking about the Ukrainian crisis, the all the crazy things going on with the Africans that are stuck in Ukraine, and the inherent rise of racism in Africa, as well as in other parts of Europe. We Africans are dealing with racism in Europe while also dealing with failed leadership, failed government in Africa. Alrighty. So, you know what to do. Share this broadcast. Let's have as many people as possible view it too. So, get people involved. Please do not hesitate and to share this broadcast as wherever you are saying this. Please share it. It promises to be an exciting day today. We're going to have a wonderful time. My name is Buchilo. For those who do not know, I'm an attorney as well as a social commentator, a political commentator about what's going on in Africa, as well as mostly what's happening in Nigeria, and also the rise of, pretty much global affairs, what's happening in the global world. I feel like I have something to say, and I also believe that people want to hear what I have to say. Um, so today is going to be very brief. I don't want it to be too long. I just want us to hit the nail on the head, um, and just go on. You see, there are some stories that have made headlines this past week that I want to share. I want to talk to Nigerians about, as well as people that live in Nigeria. You have to understand that there's been a lot of suffering going on in the world, and most especially folks that are stuck in Ukraine. When you see Africans that are crying and pleading to cross the borders, and they are stopping them from crossing the borders in Ukraine, you have to understand that the reason why the people do that, the reason why the government of other governments are doing that, is because of the fact that whenever they see Africans, they see the leadership, they see the nations, they see their nations too. All right. Whenever people look at Africans, mass group of Africans that are fleeing anywhere and trying to come into another country, they ultimately see the nations of those countries in the faces of those people. All right. Most people who live in Ukraine, most of them, if Ukraine is good as it is, most of them do not leave. They stay back in Ukraine, they build their country, they try to make it work. All right. But we all know for a fact that most Nigerians would flee Nigeria at the skip of a heartbeat if given the opportunities to. All right. And we've seen so many of this happen in the past with when the doctors were fleeing to Saudi Arabia, as well as now where folks are fleeing to, Canada, the United Kingdom, as well as the United States of America. We're seeing all of this happen. All right. The reason is very simple. The reason is because of the fact that there is a failure of leadership that exists in Africa. And this failure of leadership has cut across so many sectors of the Nigerian economy, as well as the economy of the world. That's why nobody ever takes us seriously. You see, we can come here, we can cry, we can act like, oh, we're suffering, things are really bad, But the truth of the matter is this: no one takes most most Africans that when they are their situation, they don't take it as seriously as one would expect. And the reason is very simple. The reason is because of the fact that we are not considered a global player in the economy of nations. All right. We're not considered a global player in the economy of nations. And it's easy for them to discriminate against us without having any form of consequences. All right. If they discriminate against Nigerians, if they discriminate against the black people in Nigeria, in Ukraine, they know there will be no consequences. So there is this article that I want to put up on the screen: how Africans and Asians fleeing Ukraine are subjected to racial discrimination by border guards. All right, there's a huge racial discrimination going on right now uh, against the black people in Russia, in Poland, in Ukraine, in Hungary, in Belarus. There is, and it only takes time, or it only takes one opportunity for for those things to show. And as soon as they show, it's easy for you to know exactly how they think about you. All right. The enemies of, people can smile at you and make it seem like, oh, they don't really care. But the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, it matters how your nation creates itself, how your nation, is seen in the international community. They don't regard Nigerians as anything. All right. They don't regard most black people as anything in those European countries. Because if your country was that good, what are you doing here? All right. We have to understand that yes, economies go bad, can be good today, some economies can be bad today, it doesn't matter. But when a whole continent is bad for 50 years, for multiple generations, then it's a problem. All right. It could be understandable people are where people suffer for a period of time. Maybe they say, oh, Nigeria is not good for only 2 years or 5 years, and it's understandable. Maybe most people may not leave. But when a country has been terrible for so long, battling the same situation for so long, then you have to understand that the reason why this is because of the fact that there's been an inherent failure of leadership. There's been a failure of leadership. So Africans, and some people might say, oh, Asians that flee Ukraine. But again, my own main aim is the Africans, because we've seen the videos of Africans that have been pushed out of trains to make way for the white European refugees themselves to come in. So it's very simple to just say that we're not regarded as anything. Most Africans, especially Nigerians, and they're seen as a threat. We are good for music and entertainment. And my fear is at the end of the day, we can create a system where Nigerians are only known for entertainment and not known for anything else. And that is what it is. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying right now. So what do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think in the comment section, because the truth of the matter is that we are being regarded and being treated as slaves, even back in other countries. People that have been living in Ukraine for so long, and by the time this war started, they were left on their own fate. And these are professionals. These are doctors. These are people that they spent hours walking to the border, and they are told by their people they cannot get in. They have to find other alternative ways of getting safe. All right. We're seeing what's going on, with the whole Russia and Ukraine crisis. But the truth of the matter is this: it is not the fault of, to me, I would say that it's still, at the end of the day, still the fault of the leadership of Nigeria, because everybody was put on notice. Why do you think America is not? They're not like saying, "Oh, we are shocked by what's going on." And how many of you have heard? Most Americans have been evacuated long ago, and even if they're not been evacuated, they've provided alternative, means of flying them out. And as someone is saying in the comment section, if we had a Biafra in Africa that respects human rights and a great environment to raise a family, you wouldn't have people move out of Africa in droves and being discriminated. Simple. Most people know that as soon as they open their borders for Nigeria, even for Africans, 9 or 8 out of 10 people that would apply for those places will be Nigerians. Even if any country decides, if Canada wants to open its borders now to Africans, 80% of the people that will apply for those papers or for those visas will be Nigerians, because Nigerians have become so disillusioned by Nigeria that they already have their faith, especially the young people. Young people already know that they believe strongly in their mind that Nigeria doesn't have a future for them. Even for the ones that are studying in schools, even for the ones that have gotten education, they realize that even their education is not even enough to help them, you know, go past what's going to happen in the future. Their education is not a guarantee for jobs. Their education is not a guarantee for financial prosperity. Their education is not a guarantee for life. You know, there is a way and manner at which your life starts. As soon as you are done with education, you know, ultimately you should start thinking about getting a job. And when a man gets a job, the next thing that happens is he starts thinking about getting settled or marrying and having a family. Most young people in Nigeria are not found, they don't have that opportunity to start planning their life effectively in that manner, where they start thinking, oh, at this stage I will get a job, then after that I will get married and have a family and raise a family. Most of them don't have that opportunity. Why? Because at the end of the day, they are left on their own. As soon as you graduate from university, you are left on your own. The government cannot promise you jobs, and you are not even sure if you would even see food, not to even talk of a job. So when you see Africans that are being discriminated in Ukraine, the reason why is because of the fact that the Ukrainians and people, the white Europeans, they know that at the end of the day, it's still a shithole in most of these places where these folks live. And they still believe that they still have a privilege over them, even in times of war. They still consider themselves even way better than them, way better than Africans. And you know, as much as we may decide not to accept this, but that is what it is in the global sphere of things. All right, we have to start asking ourselves, rather than pointing the accusing finger on the people that are, you know, stopping people from entering the borders, who should be responsible for this? And the people that should be responsible for this are the people that are given the responsibility of ensuring that people that are in Nigerians that are in foreign countries are safe. They don't provide those services for them. They don't provide services where they would ensure that they are taken out and put in safe places so that they don't lose their lives. No, everybody has to fight for themselves. Everybody has to go out there and keep making everything for themselves. Be their own government, be their own police, be their own healthcare service, be their own security. That's just the way and manner at which the government of Nigeria has turned Nigerians into. All right. So we are seeing it. We're seeing it now, and you know, most of the time we live in a government that is not proactive. Unfortunately, we live in a government that is usually very reactive, right? A government that reacts after the situation has already happened. A government that doesn't think ahead or does not like, oh, okay, there is a likely war that's going to take place in Ukraine. Okay, how many students Nigeria? How many students in Nigeria are in Ukraine? What are their names? How old are they? How many of them have kids? How many of them are married? If we ask any of these organizations to provide data of these places, we might be shocked in for a surprise that there's actually no data to state how many Nigerians are in Ukraine. All right. The only thing we are just told is, oh, protect yourself and take. This is one story that I saw. You know, the Ukrainian borders have been instructed to allow all foreigners to leave Ukraine. Minister of Foreign Affairs is saying this, saying that they've been instructed. Who is instructing them? Is it George Onyema that is instructing them, or is it the minister? Is it the minister that is the Ukraine Foreign Affairs Minister? The question is, at the end of the day, you can instruct somebody to do something, but when it comes to when the situation of things down there, it is harder. It is harder to control the crowd of people that are down there. And when people are down there, nobody has time to be like, oh, all the Nigerians did this one, this one. Everybody, all man for himself. Every man is fighting for himself in situations like that. But the point I'm trying to make in essence is there was sufficient time to prevent this discrimination from happening. But again, the government of Nigeria will not take steps early enough up until it is late. Then they start scrambling like headless chickens. And this is one of the situations that has happened and one of the occurrences. And time again, we are reminded that we are reminded about the fact of, that there is no viable economy in Nigeria, even in Africa, most, in some African countries, that has led to this mass migration of young people, mass migration of old people out of Nigeria. And most of them are not even looking back anymore. They are out, and they're out for good. So this is what it is. The Ukrainian border, they've told them not to allow, foreigners, they allow foreigners to leave Ukraine. Hopefully, the foreigners that are there, the Nigerians that are there, and the Igbo people, the Yoruba, right now it doesn't even matter who you are. When you are there, everybody will call themselves a Nigerian, as long as you have the Nigerian passport. It is only fair to say that, hopefully and prayerfully, that they are safe and they find themselves in places where, they can be safe and hold off on until the government finds better alternatives for them. But I just want this to be a reflection that when people are blaming the Ukrainians for not letting Africans in, I would say, rather than blame the Ukrainians, blame your leaders. Blame your leaders that have put you in this position, that have let you suffer and cry and suffer in silence and in all of this nonsense. Blame them. They are the ones responsible for this. It's not just the Ukrainians, and you want to point accusing fingers and say, oh, racism. What of your leaders? What are they doing to help you move and to secure? How many planes do Nigerian governments have? We have lots and lots of planes. Why is it that none of the planes are being used? That is a question you need to ask yourself. So I'm not going to jump in and be like, oh, I'm going to blame Ukrainians for not letting this. I'm not part of those people. I'd rather blame the Nigerian government for not preparing themselves enough to ensure that these people are evacuated safely. We saw how the Indians took care of their own students. They provided them aircrafts. We have all these politicians that have multiple private jets that they don't use. They just park the private jets in hangars, and then they don't use them. These private jets are gathering dust and gathering demurrage in wherever they are stored. They're not being used. So I'm not going to blame just the Ukrainians. I'm going to blame the leadership of Africa. The leadership of Africa that is always really slow and in responses, in human rights, in responses like this. Hopefully, things get better. Hopefully. We can only wish for the best. I'm going to go to my next story now. This is also another issue of insecurity. All right. This is how gunmen killed the Taraba governor's aide at a burial ceremony. We have seen how Nigeria is so riddled with so much insecurity. Someone can only wonder that the amount of insecurity going on in Nigeria right now is even worse than what is even happening currently in modern day Ukraine. I know that might sound like an exaggeration, but the truth of the matter is that it is what it is. With the amount of killings that have been going on in different parts of Southeast Nigeria and even in the north, the economy, and it's very sad. But again, we are on our own. The people, whether you call yourself a Nigerian or you call yourself a Biafran or whatever it is, or even Oduduwa, you are on your own at this point in time. Because when you look at the situation of things, you see that the government of Nigeria, the government of the nation, they understand that things are bad. Gunmen out there ravaging, killing people. There is no stopping them. They are doing it every single day. And it doesn't even matter whether you are connected to the government or not, or whether you are, so as this man is, as a state aide, a governor's aide, he was still killed. May his soul rest in peace. And this is an update. The Nigerian government, has told the stranded Nigerians that they should use the Romanian and Hungarian borders. All right. They've told them they should use those borders. But again, how many of these people have transportation? They are telling these people that they should use different borders, and how are they helping them to get to those borders? It's not easy for these folks to be working during the cold and terrible weather. All right, they're now telling them, oh, why don't you use these borders? And this is the kind of information you should give to people before all of these crazy things happen. All right, but folks were not prepared. Folks were not prepared. In times of crisis, we always realize that most times the Nigerian government, they are never prepared. They never seem to have a game plan until the situation is dire, until they have no choice. Then they're like, oh, we need to take action right now. But they are hardly ever prepared. And this is sad. But that is what it is. When it comes to situations like this, there should be measures in place for evacuation, for protection, for safety. All right. I cannot say this categorically, but I am going to say this. I am very sure that the Nigerian minister, the Nigerian embassy, rep, and all the folks in the consulate. How many of them are still in Ukraine right now with those students? How many of them are giving those students moral support right now? How many of them are still with them? Most of them probably have run away back to Nigeria for their own personal safety. Most of them have seen it as an opportunity where that, oh, this is none of my business. I'm going to have to save my head and I'm out of here, pack my bags, and I'm leaving. Because those people who are in government, they have better ways of saving themselves over other people. So what am I trying to say? The Nigerian government must show solidarity to the students. And the only way they can do that is if they are there with them, seeing what they are experiencing, and not just seeing it on Twitter or on Facebook or on social media. How many of these these embassy people are there with them? I with those people in the camps and in the bunkers. How many of them are there? No, they are not there. Thank you, my brothers. Whoever is Revolutionary Way, I thank you. They've all left before they all left. We all know how these things work. The president of Ukraine even told the West that I don't want a free ride. I want ammunition. Do you know why he said that? Because he knew he wasn't going to leave his people. When Afghanistan was taken over by the Taliban, even the Afghanistani president, he ran away. This is the same thing they would do in the African governments and the African leaders and the Nigerian leaders. They would do. They will all run away, and they will be calling them on the phone, telling them, "My dear, just be safe, okay? We're doing all we can, okay? We'll come and take care of you, okay? Just don't be alarmed, okay? We love you, okay? Oh, they stop you people in Poland border. Okay, why don't you take the Hungarian border? Yes, just use your Google Maps. Put it Hungarian border. It will take you on the left. Then when you cross across on the right, you will see it by the side of the road. That is Hungarian border. Try and talk to them. They've been giving instructions to let you guys in. Okay, we love you. Okay, now bye for now. Okay, they're not there with them. They're not there with them. And how many of these students at the end of the day, when they are taken to Poland, or how many of them is a father and son conversation? How many of them are ready to even come back to Nigeria? After all of this racism and everything, how many of them are ready to come? They prefer Africans. Let me tell you, Africans prefer racism to insecurity. Africans will prefer that the white man be racist to them than for them to be in a country where they're not even sure if they will see the next day. So let's be very honest with ourselves. I like to be very honest with myself. All right. It's just the way it is. The country has not lived to its glory. Apart from the entertainment and apart from the I'm not even going to put soccer because that one is past glory. Apart from the entertainments that Nigeria is producing to the world, I don't think anything else is that valuable. All right. Apart from the Davidos and the Wizkid and the Burna Boys and the CK, what else are we really doing else? What else? We're not helping anybody fight anything. We're not providing good roads for ourselves. We're not providing good healthcare for our people. We don't have security. We have security that will kill people. The security agencies will go after its own people. So, my dear, most Africans will tell you that they prefer racism to what they've experienced back in Nigeria. That's why, do you know the kind of heart somebody will have to want to cross a terrible road in the wilderness, to cross those terrible roads going towards Libya and going towards Europe I saw a video documentary. We did a video documentary. Yeah, go and watch some of our past videos. You see some of the videos that we've spoken about, how bad it is to leave Nigeria, to leave Africa. What is pursuing people out of their own country, out of their own home? Do you know what it is for someone to even as I'm talking to you, I've also been I've also experienced it. You know, I've also experienced it, so I know what I'm talking about. Families have been affected. My father had to leave Nigeria, even at some point, to go find green pastures somewhere else. And he left our family for over 12 years, over 12 years, to go look for green pastures. Although, we still had communication with him. But the point I'm trying to make in essence is the fact that families are separating is because of the failure of leadership. The fact that a father will leave his wife and his kids to travel abroad to go get a daily bread because he cannot get that daily bread in his own home is because of the failure of leadership. You know, exactly. How many countries would you see that their people will live in droves to other countries? It doesn't happen like that. That is the reason why most European countries are afraid to open the borders to Nigerians, because they know that when Nigerians come, they don't go back. They know that when Nigerians come, they don't go back. Susan Mount said, thank God she saw Africans boarding trains in Ukraine on Fox News last night. Okay? So at least the Africans have been put in trains. Some of them are now making their way to Poland and Hungary, which is good news. But again, it doesn't take away the fact that these folks know that the Africans that are coming there, most of them will likely not go back. And that's their fear. If most of them don't even want to go back. So they are afraid that when they bring these people in here, they don't go back, they will stay. And most of them have policies against migration for Black people. All right. Some people may say, oh, yeah, we are not racist, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of international law, they would go through a pecking order. A pecking order that where they would pick the best set of people that they need. Immigration is all about picking the best set of people. If most of the time when people are running into another country for safety, the people there, before they start looking for, oh, we want to save everybody, they always want to pick what they consider to be the best set of people. All right? Yes, the Africans have to demand that they are just as important as anyone else. But even how do you demand you are important as anyone else? The only way you can demand that you are as important as anyone else is when your government is showing to the international community that they matter. We all know that there is a failure of leadership in Africa. There is a failure of leadership. No matter how we try to romance the words, the only way you can show that you are important is if what you are bringing is important or is needed in the international community. All right. So that is what it is. The story is making headlines now. The federal government has advised the students they should use another route to get into other countries. If they're not being allowed, they should use another route. This is another story again of how ISWAP has killed 11 farmers in Borno State. And when we say that the terrorists are finally in Nigeria, we know this is what it is. The Islamic State of West African province, they killed farmers in Borno State. These are the same governors that want to ultimately become the president of Nigeria. Governors that cannot even protect their own state. They want to become the president of Nigeria. They can't protect their own states, their own locality, their own government. This ISWAP, I want you to understand that ISWAP, they are a group of bandits, terrorists, and they move from place to place. They move from place to place. So let's not just talk about the fact that it's only Borno today. It's Borno today. Tomorrow it can be another country. It can be another state, rather. So if the Ukrainians are being invaded by Russia, terrorists, Boko Haram terrorists, ISWAP terrorists, they are invading Nigeria. And this invasion is an invasion where they are out there to kill. There's no negotiation. At least Ukraine and Russia, they've sat down today to talk about negotiation. These folks, they are not negotiating with anybody. They will just move and kill, move and kill, move and kill, taking territories, advancement and taking territories. So as we are preparing ourselves for what's happening in Ukraine, let's also prepare ourselves for what's about to happen in Nigeria. With this amount of killings every single day, let us see how far this is going to keep going. But as far as I'm concerned, this is going to take a long time before it's ever taken out of the picture. These folks are here, and the way and manner at which they are growing, it is obvious that they are getting the support they need from the government, and they are here to stay. So let's just keep watching. But we hope and pray that their plans fail. Now, this is another reason why we keep saying that the government, the international community has no right to take Nigerians seriously. Since I've been a student in Nigeria, back in the days, I faced the strikes as well, ASU strike. The same strike that has been holding the children. So they tell the kids, do not do drugs, do not do drugs, do not do any of these things. But the only form of activity that will keep the mind of these young ones free from all this, evil that exists, which is education, they take it away from them. They take the rights of these folks, of these kids, of these young ones to education. They take away their rights to education. Then they wonder why these young people are doing drugs. They wonder why these young people are joining cults. They wonder why these young people are being used as touts, as political touts. Whenever it's time for election, they do a strike. And so we go on strike. Then these young folks with impressionable minds are used as touts and thugs for politicians. And that's why a lot of people don't even see school as the means anymore. They see school as scam. And I don't blame them. When you are meant to graduate in 5 years, but because of strike, you end up being in university for 8 years. 3 years of your life has been wasted. You are still depending on your parents for food. You are still depending on your parents for healthcare. You are still depending on your parents for pocket money to buy things and for support. This is what the Nigerian government has turned young people into. It has turned them to overnight activists, folks that should be sitting down at school planning on how to develop a new software, a new drug, or a new medication that will help fight cancer or cure HIV. They will keep protesting and fighting the government, rolling their skin on the floor, shouting, "We need help, help us." Because of the government of Nigeria doesn't care about education, doesn't care about young people. And we have continually seen this time and time again. So the government of Nigeria is now providing, telling them, "Oh, warning strike." The government of the Nigerian government has been making empty promises over and over again, and these ASU people have been going on strike. When I was in university, this was back in 2010, from 2006 to 2011, when I was in University of Lagos studying law. We went on strike. The same ASU thing, the same ASU again. For 9 months, we were on strike. 9 good months. So what are we talking about here? This is 2021. Nothing has been done. They keep passing and talking because none of their children are in these same universities. They're all abroad. And when it's time for them to graduate, they will take a very nice picture with their father in Babariga and in wearing a suit and tie. Say, "Oh, my daughter just graduated from Oxford and she just graduated from Stanford," with taxpayers' money. But when they go back, they will now impound the universities of Nigeria and tell the universities, "You're not going anywhere. You're wasting the lives of young people." Academics and extracurricular activities to keep the students busy and active. Yeah, they train them to be criminals and beggars. That's embarrassing. Let me tell you, I'm only going to keep doing this broadcast because I feel like the world needs to hear my voice. Most of the time, whenever I see all these things going on, most of the time I just want to be like, "Man, I'm tired of this nonsense. I don't want to say anything again." That's why sometimes I don't come on live, as much as I want to. But the truth of the matter is this: the Nigerian government has played on so many minds. They've wasted so many minds, so many minds. And these minds are minds that will grow old. Imagine no class for 9 months, and yet people pay for school. People pay for school. There will be no class. People pay for lights. There is no light. People pay for healthcare. There is no healthcare. They have messed with the minds of young people. And I'm just sad because I see this generation of young people and I'm like, man, the lucky ones are the ones who leave. Even the ones that are find themselves in Ukraine, they thought they are left. But the Nigerian factor still met them there. I'm gonna just do pick one more story about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is somebody that I love and respect a lot. And I want to do this story because of what's happening. The Nigerian government has denied this man his fundamental human rights. They've not allowed him his health care, and this man is susceptible to he's susceptible to losing his life if care is not taken. And it's sad because you finally kidnapped him. You finally kidnapped this man. Why don't you want to give him his health care? Why don't you want to treat him like a normal person? But that's the Nigerian government for you. Nobody is treated as a normal person. Nobody. Everybody is treated as like animals. They treat everybody like crazy people, and it's sad. But that's just the way it is. The Nigerian government doesn't have any form of modicum of respect for any person. Exactly. Sometimes I feel, someone said in the comment section, sometimes I feel the same way. Sometimes I wonder, these people who are trying to save, are they even worth saving? I keep asking myself this question, but I've already jumped into this fire. So I think at this point in time, I just have to swim it through, because sometimes I feel like I'm not, these people are about to make me mad. So this is Nnamdi Kanu. They've written to the Red Cross. Can you imagine? They're talking about Ukrainians. Ukrainians are being racist. They're being racist to black people. A whole British citizen was kidnapped from Kenya. British citizen. The UK has not done anything. So who are the Africans that are being? They will be racist to all of you. By the time they are done with all of you, you guys will know that yes, you're not regarded as anything. And the reason why is because you have not put yourself in a situation where anybody should regard you as anything. If you don't put yourself, if you're not part of the people that are changing the world economically, globally, then you are just a waste in the space. So this is a story I wanted to share with you guys. Or let it be on notice. Let it be on notice that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's heart is failing, and the Nigerian government is stopping him from medical examination. This is something that should be provided to any person who has a problem like this. Medical attention. It doesn't stop them from still keeping him in their detention. It doesn't stop them. You can still provide somebody medical care and still have that person in your detention. He's not asking, this is just something that you can do as a decent human being. You can be a decent human being and still provide health care to the person that you are prosecuting. Every government that calls itself a decent human being should be doing this. But the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Judicial Commission, they've all closed their eyes to the fact that a great example of how the judicial system to run is failing. But they don't care. They don't care because it's not one of their own. It's not one of their own. But Mazi Nnamdi Kanu his rights should be respected. All right. You finally found him. You finally brought him down, kidnapped him. The least you can do as a government is to respect his human rights, his fundamental human rights. He needs independent medical attention, and that attention must be given to him. His lawyers are not doctors. His lawyers are fighting for his rights in court. They need to give him his medical attention. And I want the DSS and the Nigerian Judicial Commission, like if anything happens to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, their delayed response in all of this, they will be held accountable for this. At this point in time, I want to thank everybody for being a part of my show. Thank you, Revolutionary Way. Thank you, Susan Mount, for your comments. You guys made my day. Today is Monday. I cannot promise when I'll be back again, but hopefully I'll be back again on Wednesday. I hopefully, and if I am gonna be on Wednesday, I'm gonna put a post out. They've subjugated Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to harsh penalties before their sham trial. NBA and Nigeria judiciary are clearly impartial. This is why I ran away and I said, you know what, to be a lawyer in Nigeria is like pulling your teeth out of your mouth. It's painful, a painful experience, both for the lawyers and both for the people that they are even the clients. It's just painful. So thank you, everybody. I wish you all a wonderful day. God bless you.